I've been anticipating this conversation all day of all the people that we have had coming in today, and we've had a pretty interesting list today. But I've been most excited to speak to you because you have been a specter in the background of my musical life for the last 3 years without probably having any. Well, not probably. You definitely had no idea about it. Okay. I'm in a band called the Dirty River Band, and we have a bassist named Norm Lasseline. Okay. And we constantly make fun of Norm because of you.
Oh, basses lift.
There you go, the basses lift. And I was first introduced to your work because we were making fun of our bass player.
Oh, okay.
My guest today on the podcast, Mr. Glenn Fricker. How's it going, Glenn?
Not too bad. How's it going, man?
Good, brother. So, what I do know about you is about your YouTube channel, but I want to start way before any of that. Are you born and raised here in Windsor?
Hell no.
No? Where are you from?
I'm from Hamilton, Ontario originally.
Nice, the hammer.
I came to Windsor in '84. My dad got a job with Chrysler, actually, as an electrician.
Okay.
And so we moved down and been here ever since.
How old were you?
Can't wait to get out.
How old were you at the time?
14.
14 years old.
So, yeah, I started my high school career in Windsor. That's the thing. So it was like new city, new school. It was kind of terrifying. And, yeah.
Was music in your life before or after?
Actually, I really got into music right when I came to Windsor.
Okay.
Fall of '84.
How did that sort of play out?
Heard Judas Priest screaming for vengeance, and that was it. You know, game over.
How were you introduced to it?
Borrowed one of my brother's tape to throw on when I was doing homework because I had heard one song that I didn't mind so bad. Next thing I know, 2 days later, they're my favorite band ever.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you have any connection with music before that at all?
Maybe a little bit. I was a big fan of the Dr. Demento show when I was a little younger.
Yeah.
I'm actually doing oddly enough, I'm doing a cover song contest. It's sponsored, well, not sponsored, but Dr. Demento himself has given his blessing on this. So,
oh, that's awesome.
And the announcement goes live tomorrow. We're calling it the Demented Metal Cover Song Contest, where we take songs that appeared on the Dr. Demento show and we do metal covers of them. We're going to do videos, and next month we're going to judge them. Me and a whole bunch of other YouTubers, we're going to judge them at Thomann in Bamberg, Germany, at this thing called Gearhead University.
That's awesome. By the time this comes out, you'll probably be judging because we shoot about a month in advance or whatever.
That's cool. Anyway, so yeah. I think I bought my first record ever I was 13. It was Weird Al's first record.
Weird Al was your first. Oh, that's
or
hilarious.
12. Was I 12? Might have been 12. I don't know.
Was that the My Bologna stuff or the latest?
Yeah, no, that was the My Bologna stuff. This is the record I had to search to find this. Nobody knew who the hell he was at the time. So that had Stop Dragging My Car Around, My Bologna. Ricky, and what was the other big one? Another one, Rides the Bus.
You have your entire persona is wrapped so heavy around like metal and rock, and your origin is in parody comedy.
Absolutely.
That's I love.
Well, that's the thing. I love metal, but I think a lot of metal bands take themselves way too seriously.
Yeah.
And so I don't mind taking the piss out of it every now and then. It's like, oh, come on, jeez. So I've always had 1 foot firmly in the humor pond, as it were.
That's incredible. Did you go down that road like past weird? Like most people get exposed, especially in our sort of eras, whatever, got exposed to Weird Al and then kind of stopped there. But there's this weird sort of like subculture of parody comedy music people. Did you ever travel down those roads at all?
I'm not sure I quite understand the question.
Well, like there's a group of these like parody writers that sort of came up behind Weird Al, like Dr. Demento, Weird Al kind of. Once Weird Al connected with Dr. Demento, and that sort of it became a bit of a genre.
Actually, you know what? When I got into metal, I just kind of rejected the whole comedy thing for like I don't know 10, 15 years.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's kind of slowly been creeping back in over the last 10 years or so. I mean, I pull out the tapes. I used to make tons of tapes of those. And I pull them out every now and then. I'm playing for my friends. They all thought I was out of my mind. They're like, what's that? That's not cool. That's too strange.
That's funny.
So, but those tapes did have a huge influence on me very early. And then, when I was 14, I discovered heavy metal. And, that was what wanted to make me pick up an instrument, though, and learn how to play.
What was the guitar player at first?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Still
okay.
am a guitar player. And
I thought you were more of a drummer.
No, I'm not a drummer.
Okay.
No, my IQ is over 36, so I'm definitely qualified to be a better drummer.
You can count more than four.
Yes, exactly. So yes, I'm definitely not a drummer and definitely not a bass player. I used to actually sing in a band here in Windsor called Total Chaos.
Okay.
And that was for about 2 years. And we did the usual, Rum Runners, Californias. Well, no, we'd play the off nights on Californias and Rum Runners because we played our own stuff, and they wouldn't book you if you did that. So.
Right.
But we kind of did our own thing anyway.
Was that all of your musicianship? Was that local stuff, or did you tour at all? Or?
Oh no, I never had the chance to tour.
Okay.
So it was all pretty much local.
So how did your sort of like path take you into doing like sound and recording and that kind of stuff?
Took media arts at Sheridan College up in Oakville for 3 years.
Okay.
And that, exposed me to this whole wider culture of stuff like that. And I actually wanted to direct music videos.
Okay.
Coming out of there, and then got a day job in manufacturing. And decided to put my money into audio production because I thought that was the path of least resistance at that point.
Why did you want to direct music videos? Were you like?
I was just really into music videos. That's what I wanted to do. I watch music videos all the time. I mean, like I've got tapes and tapes and tapes and tapes and tapes of music videos like in my archive. I mean, like I think I got about 25 VHS tapes of full of like Power Hour episodes and that kind of thing. I've got tapes. I've got old beta tapes of The Beat on Channel 56.
Nice.
So I mean, like it goes back 30 years.
Have you always been like a collector kid? Like was
Not
that?
so much, just mostly like audio and video kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I love movies, that kind of thing, but I loved music videos and I really wanted to direct that. But when I got out of school, the cost of entry to music videos was still $3,000 to $5,000 video because if you wanted to look decent, you had to shoot on film.
Right.
So when I got my day job, I decided to go into audio production because it seemed like things were kind of maybe going to be affordable a little bit at that point. And that would have been, I got hired at 93. And I didn't open up my studio till, I didn't do my first paid gig in the studio till December 98. So
did you do like venue sound and stuff first? So it was all just about going in the studio.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's what I wanted to do. I really didn't want to do live sound.
Okay.
Because I don't really relish the idea of drunk people telling me how to do my job.
Okay, fair enough. What was the connection to the studio sound? Was it just?
It was at Sheridan actually. I remember I wasn't even an audio major, but I had sat down behind the board because a buddy of mine was recording my band, and I wasn't liking the mix, so I sat down and kind of it was kind of one of those things where it's like, oh. Everything kind of made sense, what I mean? It's kind of like my buddy's just kind of sitting there scratching his head. He's like, "Wow," he's like, "You should do this, man." I'm like, because it was just kind of like. I kind of figured out how it all fit together.
Did it sort of talk to you in a way that made sense to you from others? I guess what I'm asking is are you able to sort of figure out what the connection was, why it came to you so easily?
Yeah, it was just one of those things. It's kind of like everything kind of made sense, and it's like, okay, great. So when I got out of school, I just kind of gravitated towards audio a little bit. I thought it would be easy. Oh. Boy, was I wrong. So, like I said, opened my studio in December 98 and did my first gig. And I remember my first real big gig was, I think I did an EP, like Easter weekend of 99 and had a great time. The band was called 6 Degrees of Separation. We had a blast. And this was my first experience with the band coming in completely unprepared. So I had to help them finish writing the songs and the parts and just...
okay.
Yeah. And that became, unfortunately, a great big staple over the next 20 years of bands coming into the studio just completely unprepared.
Now, is that by design or just because you didn't know how to get clients that didn't come in that way?
No, that's just the business. Period.
Period?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Still to this day?
Oh yeah,
we had an incident.
Even top level bands, this happens.
Because we had an incident, not an incident, but there was a time when Derek was recording in the studio, and I walked in, and there was the guys that he was sitting with, and I know the guys, whatever, and we were there for a half an hour, or whatever, and they're sitting there dicking around, still essentially writing the song, and the conversation we had at the end was there's a way to make this simple, guys. Write your shit before you show up here.
Well, no kidding.
Is this not a conversation you have with your client? Well, probably not. You make more money while you're sitting there.
Well, no. No, believe me, it's like you try to have this conversation with people.
Yeah.
Does it sink in? Of course not.
Okay.
Yeah, because that takes effort.
You have a reputation of having this sort of that kind of direct attitude about musicianship in general. Is that are you just... Have you always been this sort of an abrupt person, or are you just fed up with this shit?
Yeah, I'm basically fed up with the shit. I was young and I was an ideologue at one point. I had all these hopes and dreams, and then it was, and my hopes and dreams were crushed by, people who didn't give a fuck about what they were doing, who wanted to half-ass things. And
thought
good enough was good enough when it wasn't.
Tell me one of the stories where that first became evident to you.
The first Betrayer record, they weren't even called Betrayer, they're still called Swarm.
Okay.
And they came in and, they were okay. There's still a couple guys who are still in high school, that kind of thing.
How old are you at the time?
I would have been 28, 29, something
Okay.
like that. And the band came in and the bass player didn't know any of the material. He'd play like for 3 seconds and then fall off the beat.
Okay.
And it's like, it was obvious he didn't learn the material. So I threw him out. I'm like, go home, learn this. Because I was charging flat rates at the time. Never, ever take flat rates, kids. Boy. Yeah, well, let me rephrase that. Taking flat rates is a lot like being a young boy locked in a room full of Catholic priests. You're going to get fucked. Seriously, though. Yeah, this band was paying a flat rate, and it took me a little while to smarten up and get away from that because musicians will just take advantage of you like you wouldn't believe. Anyway, so yeah, I threw the kid out and said, come back in 2 weeks when you learn this material. Next thing you know, I'm sitting on my ass for 2 weeks waiting for the band to get their shit together.
Right.
It's just, and this was, unfortunately, I thought this was going to be, the rare thing, and that became more the standard than the exception. So
what was the lesson from there? Just fuck it, just deal with them in the...
Charge by the hour.
Yeah.
And, I try and do meetings with bands before they came in.
Right.
Learn your material. And sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't. I mean, I remember his band came in to see me, and I was trying to get a meeting with them, and they didn't show up. They just showed up unprepared, and they thought they were going to do 10 songs in 8 hours.
Right.
Yeah, that didn't happen. You remember that, don't you? You remember that conversation?
I was the one with the other guys saying like,
oh yeah, we're gonna do 8 songs in 10 hours. Yeah.
I was like, we'll be lucky to get done one.
Yeah.
They're like, dude, no, we're gonna be able to do it. And I'm like, okay.
I will say this though, their band did kick ass. Those guys were really good. I still listen to that little record we did every once in a while.
Well,
They were
actually,
really good.
Actually, the funny thing is, before you got here, he pulled it up. We've got it for you.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You guys kicked ass. That was really good. I would have loved to have done more with you, but you guys thought you'd have better luck in Leamington. Heard that went real well.
Oh yeah.
I know. Let's redo the guitars 80 million times.
3 different band names later.
Oh wow, really?
Now we got it going pretty well. Now.
Okay, well that's cool.
They're doing all right.
Oh well, that's glad to hear that. Yeah, I really enjoyed you guys.
But was that like your experience with that? Because like when I asked the question, I mean, I was looking for like that first time where the wasting your time on people that weren't going to sort of like bring you back to work. Where that was evident. Was that like a pivotal moment for you? When like 2 weeks later they still hadn't shown up?
Oh no, they came in and he was a little better. He had kind of learned the songs, but it was still pretty tedious.
Yeah.
And it's like,
well, I guess
it's just so frustrating because you watch musicians just go out of their way to fuck up their own records.
Right. Yeah. You sit in and you hope a lot from the people that are sitting in front of you.
Well, this is the thing. When it happens, it's great. I mean, I remember doing the second Face Down record, and what was I? Forgetting the Constant Fear. We did that kind of live off the floor, and there was a serious vibe on that record. Those guys were just on fire that day, and it's a couple songs on there, and still goosebumps.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they're just so kicking ass. And so every once in a while, it's really worth it. You get a project just like, yeah. You know what I mean? The Black Creek album was like that too. I think we banged that whole record out in 3 days.
Yeah.
And they just kicked ass. You know what I mean? So when you get the right band in and they've got the right material and they come in prepared and they just kill it, it can be a lot of fun. Like his band. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were really good too.
Do you kind of file away those stories? Like, do you in your head? Do you have?
It's just kind of some things you can't forget. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like, sometimes, oh yeah, it's great, and other times like, oh my god, why am I doing this?
I want to hear one of each. I want to hear like the one that stands out most is like maybe the surprise moment that one that you didn't think was going to work out great, maybe shocked you a little bit. And then maybe the other side, maybe one that you went in expecting to be super awesome and turned out to be complete dog shit.
Oh, God. I'm gonna
maybe
get in trouble
don't
for
name
this
them.
one.
Maybe don't name them, but
Well, we have to be able to tell the truth.
Sure.
We need to be able to be honest with ourselves, and I think that's one thing the music industry is seriously lacking is a lot of honesty.
Right.
And that's one thing I try and do with my show is just tell the truth.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I was a big fan of Penn and Teller bullshit.
Fuck yeah.
And they never ever did an episode on the music industry, so I said, "Screw it! I'm gonna do a show based on it's basically bullshit for the music industry."
Was that the sort of inspiration for your show?
Yes.
That's incredible. I want to come back to that, but I want the other fucking stories first.
all right.
So I want the good one first.
Okay, bands that came and kicked ass. Well, I kind of named off a bunch there.
Right.
Yeah, the Black Creek one was
But maybe
just
one that was a
lot of
surprise,
fun.
one that you weren't expecting as much out of, maybe.
Oh, I don't know.
Because you're a bit of a
don't-
negative Nancy, Glenn. I don't know if you know that or not, but
Well, you'll live. Let me see here. A band that kicked ass that really surprised me. Oh, I don't know. Like I said, they're all kind of a surprise when they do well.
when they do kick ass. All right.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I've never really expected. I mean, like, you know, the first band I think I ever did was Problem to the Solution. And
Yeah,
way back,
great.
but and they're like, you know, because they came in, they kicked ass, and like, great. So I kind of expected that from everyone else
Right.
at that point, and was just sorely disappointed ever since.
Talk to me through your time with Problem to the Solution, because like I got introduced to them first when Chris Whalen ended up sitting in as like our when Norm went off to be have a baby. Chris sat in with us and he introduced me to John and had those conversations. Incredible guys, really interesting stuff.
I learned a valuable lesson doing that record.
Okay.
Make sure you get paid before you hand over the record. I waited like 4 years to get paid in full. Thanks, fuckers. They eventually did pay me.
Right.
Eventually.
That's a good story. Most of them even after 4 years, once they've gone that long.
It's like, anybody who's running a home studio, always make sure you get paid in full before you hand out anything. Or you will never, ever see that money.
Derek's over there with the giant head. All right, so fine. Tell me one of the big disappointments, the one that you kind of got sunk into.
The second Woods of Ypres record. Woods of Ypres.
Okay.
You know, super influential black metal band.
Yeah.
I did the first two records.
They're local guys.
They originally were, yes.
Okay.
And you know, the first record we did was like in the summer of 2002, and it was called "Cold Winter Songs of the Dead Summer Heat." And it was kind of like this black metal staple, and it's like actually Brave Words and Bloody Knuckles named it number 28 of the top 30 greatest Canadian metal records ever.
Wow. Okay.
And that was great because it was Dave Gold and Brian McManus and Aaron Palmer and just the three of them, and we worked together on these songs. And you know, we went into the studio. The production was not very good at that time. That was still 2002. I still had a long way to go in terms of my production skills, but we had a lot of fun on that record. We kicked ass and whatnot. And the second record just became a nightmare. Because David fired everybody and became the leader, whereas the first record was kind of us ganging up on Dave a little bit.
Okay.
You know, it's like, oh, come on, Dave, get real. Whereas I didn't have that support the second time around. And we originally started tracking it. And I gotta say this, Dave passed away a couple years ago, so I'm not speaking ill of the dead. I'm just telling the truth, what happened in the studio. I'm not assaulting his character in any stretch of the imagination. Okay. Dave as a character is off the table here. I'm just saying what happened here.
Right.
So we did the first couple songs, and he had a bit of an argument with the rest of the guys about how to count in on the song, because it was kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, blast beat, you know, da, 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 da. And I was like, what are you doing? You know, so it was completely off tempo. So the next day he came in and said, I want to cut my drums without any backing musicians. I just want to cut my drums on their own.
Okay.
It's the only time I've ever let anybody get away with that, and boy, did that cause us problems down the road. So we're talking no metronome, no other musicians, just the drums by themselves.
No ghost track,
Nothing. Just the drums by themselves.
Okay.
So if you listen to the second Woods of Ypres album and you wonder why the tempo is all over the place on a few songs, that's why. Wow. So I had to make sense out of it.
What kind of a fucking nightmare edit did that end up being for you?
A huge nightmare edit, especially because the band had a singer, and then one weekend Dave showed up. He had moved to Toronto by this time. He shows up and I'm like, "Where's Chris?" "Oh, I fired him yesterday. I'm doing the vocals." So every note on that album was auto-tuned.
Oh man!
This is why you wonder why I hate auto-tune so much. So and again, I'm not. This isn't character assassination. This is just the truth.
Wow, man.
So that's where I really started to get my loathing of auto-tune.
Well, and I mean, you have, and like I said, we've played around with it a little bit, but I mean, you do have a reputation of being, and I mean, from one perspective, we can call it honest. Some people just call it grating. Like, but you know, like you don't pull any fucking punches. Is that something that you've had all your life, or did you, or like I'm kind of coming back? Like, were you always sort of like quippy, whether it was music or anything else, or? You know
I don't know. I mean, I remember, being 14 years old, starting at Riverside High School, and we used to sit around, the little tables there in the cafeteria before school started, and everybody just kind of used to gang up on me a little bit. You know what I mean? So, and I
like in a good way or a bad?
No, I mean
okay,
in a vicious, malicious,
like shit disturber, bully kind of bullshit.
A little bit, yeah, and a lot of character assassination, that kind of thing, and it was pretty vicious. So, I've had 30 years to get good at it. You know what I mean? So it's like, you grow, you eventually, you can only be a victim for so long, and then you finally grow a backbone and you start talking back.
How old were you when you started talking back?
22.
Yeah?
Yeah. 23 maybe? Something like
Do you remember the first time when you just said fuck it?
No, I don't know.
No?
That's...
Like it wasn't a signpost for you?
No, not at all. It's just something that kind of happened over the course of time. But I mean, these days it's like, fuck it, I'm going to say... I mean, this all comes back to the YouTube thing. And for me, it was actually... Talking about the early bands and whatnot, I remember at this time, I've told this story a million times, and I'm continue on because this is still funny as hell.
Sure.
In 98 or 99, I think spring of 99, I saw the same mistakes being made. And so I wrote an article called How to Get Your Band Ready for the Studio. I never finished it. I only got about 6 points in. 15, 16 years later, I see the same mistakes being made over and over again, still. Mm-hmm. And I thought, you know what, I should really finish that at some point. So I started writing, and I got thinking, well, maybe I should put this on YouTube because maybe I'll reach a few more people.
Had you done anything on YouTube at all at that
No,
point?
I'd done a couple of music videos, actually.
Okay.
In 2010, I started doing music videos because the DSLRs had come along.
Right.
I did one with Assassinate the Following and another one with Shortcut the Last, and did a whole bunch of those because I was trying to expand because when the technology came along, I'm like, oh, great, I can go to work. I can do videos again. And then I realized I wasn't that good at it. I mean, like this is the thing. I mean, like I'd have to dedicate my entire life to it to get really good at it. Say like Gavin Michael Booth, he's doing amazing at it. But
Gavin's a good friend. Yeah,
that's his whole life. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I see the stuff he's doing. I see where he started and see what he's doing now, and the stuff he's doing now is amazing.
Oh, so good.
So it's like, but that's a whole career path you got to dedicate yourself to. And I'm already in audio, so Anyway, back on the thing. So. Right around, so I think we put that out, 2012, November 2012, and I remember I just paid my house off.
Okay.
So I said, screw it, you know what, I'm gonna make this video, and I'm gonna tell the truth, and if it kills my business, so be it. My house is paid for, so I knew I was okay.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, fuck it, I'm just going to say what's on my mind. And on this time, I was really involved with the Andy Sneap production forum, which was a breeding ground for a lot of today's metal talent. Like, a lot of guys came off there. The Periphery guys came out of there. Joey Sturgis, Joe Wanasek, A.L. Levy, all those guys.
Was Al connected into all of that? Was that one of the forums that Al Yeti Bones?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm talking like an international scene.
Okay.
Like Lasso Lammer, like guys who are producing major level records these days. Ola England, they all hung out on this forum from about 2005 to about 2009, 2010.
Okay.
And we all just helped each other out. So 2012, I think I did this video, maybe 2011, I can't remember. It's a while ago. And I was working with Perpetuate at the time. Great bunch of kids. So I made the video, how to get your band ready for the studio. And just, I said, screw it. You know what? I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to turn off the filters. I'm going to say what's on my mind. If it tanks my business, so be it. At least I went down swinging. And it was a hit. It's like, it was great because a lot of my other fellow engineers said, you can't do that. You're going to ruin your business. Oh boy, were they right.
Right. Oh, yeah? I was going to say, because I thought there was like a turn coming here that I was unaware where it fucked you for a while.
No. It's like that. A lot of people, a few people say, you can't do that. You're gonna ruin your business. And a lot of people were like, do more. And it took a long time to figure out what to do,
Yeah.
And
how long did that video hang out there just by itself before you decided to come
year.
back? Really?
It was a year before I did a second video. Like I did that in 2 parts, but it took another year to figure out what to do next.
Okay.
And I remember it would have been summer 2013. I was down in Memphis, And we were checking out this blues band just playing, and the singer's singing away like this, and I'm like, oh my god, this is fucking universal. Everybody does it.
Right.
Doesn't matter if it's metal bands or whatnot. So I did.
Hip hop is the fucking worst.
Oh yeah. So I did the how to hold a microphone video.
Yep.
And I remember a few days later, I got a very angry phone call from a client of mine. You motherfucking son of a bitch! Yeah, I'm just like, okay, I think I'm onto something. And it blew up. I remember it got something like 10,000 hits in a night, and I was just like, whoa!
Did that blow your mind a little bit?
Oh yeah. I remember, I'm working on my day job, going, what's going on here?
Yeah,
that's incredible. So
other than initially, like, from those two videos, other than like just watching those numbers tick up, did you get any other sort of like feedback from it? Like, were you getting emails, calls, any of that shit?
No, just a lot of comments.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of pissed off people. You know, a lot of people say do more, and it really took a long time to figure out what to do after that.
Did it scare you a little bit?
No, not really. I was just kind of more amazed than anything that it was getting traction. And, it got shared around. I'm like, I think a couple of those videos got shared around on Metal Sucks and Ultimate Guitar and that kind of thing. Wow. And they were a huge boost to the show. Mm-hmm. So there's that. And then there were a couple things happened there. I was working as a cinematographer on an indie film. And that wasn't going so well because I don't work so well with idiots. And
I've been in the independent film industry for quite a while. Yeah, I absolutely understand what you're talking about.
The director on this film had no business calling herself a director.
Gotcha.
And I basically got fired off the set because I was trying to move it forward when they were too busy, dicking around doing nothing.
Right.
Yeah. So.
And I'm sure you were polite and cordial with every word.
The thing is, like I said, it's like, fuck your feelings. Let's get some work done.
I'm not completely against what you're saying. Yeah.
Point being is, it's like they still wanted me to edit, and I'm like, fuck this.
Yeah.
So that would have been summer 2014. Two important things happened here. So I stopped working on this film, and I said, screw this. I can do this better than she can.
Yep.
So I'm like, screw it. I'm going to do YouTube. So I asked my buddy Jamie Hush from Perpetuate, can I borrow your Axe Effects? And that's when I did Axe Effects versus The Real Deal. And that's where things really started to take off. The second point, this is what really let me know what I was going to do. You remember that film John did called Border City Music Project?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Did you go to the premiere?
No, I wasn't there.
Anybody here go to that premiere? Did anybody see that? No. Okay. Wow. Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, look at Mr. Vancouver over here, all cool and stuff. Why did you come back?
Crickets.
Yeah. Anyway, so I went to that premiere, and I got to say one thing in that whole movie, and I got to say the coolest thing in that whole movie. I remember, because I remember we did a 3-hour interview or something like that.
Right.
And I said, I've uninstalled Auto-Tune. I won't use it in my studio anymore. I'm sick of it. And the place went bananas.
That's great.
And that's when the light bulb went off. Like, okay, now I know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So I started doing videos one a week, and that's when it started getting some momentum. And, people started subscribing, people started watching more. Hey, do more and more and more. Okay, great. So I did the Axe Effects versus The Real Deal. I did The Fans Deserve Better. And that's when I started to critique how a lot of modern music's being made, and, where we're substituting human performance for, computer, adjusted bullshit.
Right.
Yeah.
How much of it, because I know, because you're so passionate about the music stuff specifically that you're talking about, how much of the show itself has kind of taken over your passion? Because it's a lot of goddamn work.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So you've got to put some focus into it, and especially when you have that many people who are coming to you all the time, there's all kinds of different levels of stuff that you have to think about. How much did that start to did you get absorbed into that part of it?
Pretty much completely at this point.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's like I'm doing maybe 1 or 2 recording projects a year now because I'm so busy doing the show.
Really?
Oh yeah.
So
I do 3 shows a week.
Okay.
So that's pretty much got me completely tapped. I mean, once in a blue moon, and
do you like doing the show more than you like recording now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. I just call my friends up and hey, I got to demo something. So I'll call up the best musicians I know.
Right.
They'll come down and we'll play, and then I can mix it however the hell I want, and I don't have to worry about feedback from anybody else but myself. It's great.
Tell me about maybe just like your personal view on that journey. Like I know you said before you started doing this stuff, you paid off your house.
Yeah.
So you had a little bit of security.
Yeah, exactly.
But like it's still like you do this full time, right?
No, I still have a day job.
Do you really still have a day job?
I do 3 videos a week, and I still have a day job.
Holy shit! Oh, see, I didn't realize that.
Oh, yeah.
What do you do?
I'm in manufacturing.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm just kind of to keep those lives separate. At this
Sure.
point, so.
Yeah. No. But like but it's a regular day job, and then
Oh,
you
yeah.
come and do these videos. That's fucking awesome, man.
So yeah, it's been that way since '98.
Okay.
I've basically done studio work and my day job.
Okay.
So.
Okay,
It's
but
been a lot
you
of fun.
how do you maintain a day job? You travel so friggin' much for all of this stuff.
I have a
You're
very good boss.
spot.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm in a good spot in terms of seniority, and I've got a great boss.
That's awesome, man.
So that's pretty cool.
What's the future hold?
Get the hell out of my day job.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm working on my O1 visa right now. I partnered up with Warren Hewitt from the channel Produce Like a Pro, and we're starting a corporation called Lancaster Audio. And we're doing music software.
Nice.
Yeah, so
what's the software stuff like? What kind? Like it's
You're gonna love this. Yeah.
It's not Logic. Like are you going to compete with? Logic
we're doing like custom impulse responses from celebrity guitar amps, that kind of thing. Like we've got Lemmy's amp. You're going to be able to plug in, pull up a piece of software on your guitar and get Lemmy's tone.
Wow.
We've got the Death Clock amp. We've got the stuff the last couple Motorhead records went through. And then
That's cool as shit.
Oh yeah. And believe it or not, I've been actually working on drum samples.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I mean, Mr. Anti-Drum Samples. I understand, it's like, look, if you're putting out a big level record, you shouldn't really be using samples. But if you're a kid at home and you want to, record something or rehearse, okay, fine. I'm totally fine with that. I did that when I was, 16 with a Commodore 64.
Right.
8-bit drum samples, and they sounded terrible.
Were you a computer nerd as a kid?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, that starts to bring stuff around.
Yeah,
You've
yeah.
always been a bit of a tech geek more than anything else.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Started out with a VIC-20.
I was
way back when.
I brought home I remember in kindergarten, the school I went to got the Commodore Pets.
I remember
and they
those.
let you bring them home.
Wow.
And in kindergarten, I brought a fucking Commodore Pet home. I was like one of the first kids, and I played
That's so
Pac-Man
cool.
for a weekend. It was the coolest shit ever.
That is
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, I always loved computers when I was younger,
Okay.
and so yeah, I mean, like that's the thing. I used to type programs in on the back of magazines, and then you'd spend the next 2 weeks debugging it and trying to figure out where you got the typo wrong. So
Right.
that gave me a hell of a set of editing skills. I learned that at 13. You know what I mean? And it's like, so when it comes to editing audio, it's just like natural now. You know what I mean? So.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So anyway, back on subject where the whole Lancaster thing. So we're doing drum samples of like custom rooms and whatnot. I mean, like famous rooms. Like we did drum samples at Phase 1, which no longer exists. We did that last June, and that was the room they did Still of the Night in. Okay. And it's all good. And last summer we did drums at Studio 2 at Sunset Sound, and that was the room Prince did Purple Rain in. That was Warren's thing. So I mean, like, we might go back and do some other stuff later on. But I mean, like, that's all coming out in the next year, hopefully.
That's cool, man.
And we're using some new tech to do the samples, and it's kind of cool. We sample the cymbals as they're moving, not just from static, so because they will sound differently. And we've got a software system that'll play them back like that.
Okay, explain this to because you've said words that have like gone past me, and I'm like sort of in this enough that I kind of get some stuff. What do you mean when you as far as I know, the only way you can record cymbals is when they're moving, because otherwise they don't make much
Well,
sound?
no. What I mean is when they're still and you hit them.
Okay.
Okay. A cymbal sounds differently when it's still and you hit it.
Yeah.
Than when you hit it twice. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Bang, bang. That cymbal on that second hit's going to sound different.
Oh, okay.
So we've got a software system that will play that back on the second and third and fourth hits.
So that it would know automatically that if it was so tight it wouldn't have the time to peel into the set. Is that what
Pretty
you're
much,
talking?
yeah.
That's cool as shit.
Yep, exactly. We did a whole bunch of stuff, like left hand, right hand samples, that kind of thing. Because the drum sounds differently depending on where you hit it and how you hit it, that kind of thing. So doing it really tedious. It's like worse than Vogue on poetry. It takes forever.
Wow.
Like
How
it
did
takes
you get-
about 2 hours to do one simple sample.
was that just a thing that came to you that you're like, fuck it, we can do it, or is it something
We were at like all good things that it happened at a party.
Right.
We were hanging out with Warren at Hybrid Studio there at NAMM last year, and we got discussing because I got a couple friends who were working on this piece, and I like getting my friends to meet each other, and then interesting things happen.
Right.
So we sat down and had this discussion. And it's hilarious. By the time the party ended, we had about 80 people in a circle, just watching us in this conversation. I'm like, what's going on here? I'm like, I think we just started something. So that's kind of neat. So yeah, we're doing a lot of cool stuff. I mean, we've got some pretty big plans in the future for where that's going. But like I said, I'm working on my visa, so I can go work down in LA in the summer, and just work on the software and get that moving.
That's
on top
awesome,
of doing
man.
YouTube.
So that was my question. When you go down there, the plan is to still do the YouTube channel.
Oh yeah, we're going to do a great big collab. It's myself, Warren, and Trey Xavier from Gear Guides. We were talking about getting a space and kind of building like almost a little incubator.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, because that's the thing. The YouTuber community is really supportive of each other.
Yeah.
And we try to help each other out as much as possible.
So there's the YouTuber culture thing.
Yeah.
Do you consider yourself part of it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
And so explain, because we're lowly over on Facebook. We haven't really ventured into YouTube land yet, but tell me what it's like to be, like most of the YouTube culture I see is like 13-year-old kids. What's it like to be the old man on YouTube?
Yeah, it's a little weird. I'll go to like events like Bufferfest. That'll happen in Toronto like every year, and I've done that. And I'm definitely the old guy there.
Yeah.
What I mean?
What exactly is Bufferfest?
Bufferfest is like a film festival for YouTubers. So it'll be like music and vloggers and adventure stuff, and it's pretty cool. Getting to check out what some of the other people on YouTube are doing, because honestly, I don't have too much time to watch it.
Right.
But it's pretty cool. It happens at we had a Roy Thompson Hall one year. Red carpet, the whole deal. It was pretty nuts.
Yeah.
So it's pretty neat to take part of that. And then a couple years ago they did it at the Metro Toronto Convention Center again. We had a lot of fun with that. Like I said, I like film festivals, and going to this, that's just really super cool.
I know you're highly recognizable like in the metal sort of world, but
Sure.
are you recognizable in like the YouTuber world in general?
Oh, probably not. You know what I mean?
I don't know how any of this
it's
shit
like
works,
in the YouTube music community, yes.
Okay.
On the greater music YouTube whole, no. I mean, like guys like Jared Dines and Rob Scallon, those guys are very recognizable. Just as general YouTubers and whatnot.
Right.
Two really good dudes, by the way. They're both friends of mine.
Who are the? I don't
Jared
recognize-
does like a metal comedy show.
Okay.
He's got about 1.5 million subs. And Rob Scallon, he's the guy who came out, burst onto the scene. He was doing Slayer covers on the banjo, about 3 years ago. And yeah, Rob's just a great dude and super talented musician. And,
That's awesome.
Recently the one he did that really impressed me was he recorded a metal band to wax cylinders, like the old school recording.
Oh,
tech.
okay, yeah.
That was just amazing.
You actually might have definitely a more interesting perspective than my own on this. But like one of the conversations that I constantly find myself in, especially because I talk to doing what we do, we talk to a lot of musicians who are like older school that kind of came up through like the 60s, 70s, and that kind of thing. And one of the constant things that come back to me that I don't follow, I don't prescribe to the viewpoint, but it's always the idea of like, it used to be better, it used to be better, it used to be better. And I think you might be one of the few people that have like a really good viewpoint on like, no, these things wouldn't be available.
Right. Well, here's the thing. It used to be better. It used to be better for who? I don't know. I mean, like, this is the thing. You've got YouTube these days. You've got a worldwide audience. All you got to do is make something interesting.
Right.
And people will watch.
Yeah.
It's like, I would say this to bands, it's like, don't even bother signing to a record label. What's the point? What are they going to do? Promote you? What are they going to do? Put your video out on YouTube?
YouTube?
Like you can?
Right.
I don't see the point of signing with a record label too much anymore. So yeah, I mean, like if it weren't for YouTube, we wouldn't have guys like Jared Dines or Rob Scallon. We wouldn't know who the hell they were.
And so specifically with YouTube and metal. Now, I'm not, and this is a reoccurring conversation today. I'm not a metal guy. Like a lot of the guys in my band, are really into metal. It's never been my genre.
Get well soon.
Yeah, well, is that a band I should look into? But I guess my question is, like to me, metal was because metal was never like the big radio sort of thing.
Exactly.
So if you were going to be into it, you already had to be kind of the type of person that would investigate and kind of find the stuff that would be underground. Has YouTube and kind of made it easier for metal to expand to a wider audience? Do you think?
Yeah, I would think so. Sure, because all you got to do is type in a search and away you go.
So do you think that, like, kind of back to the original question that I had, now that like guys like you that can have this show and up at anywhere, what do you think? Like, do you think that there's more of a connection between like metalheads and YouTube than there would be in different sort of like delivery methods?
No, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just surprised about all the shout outs I get from people who watch the show from wherever. I mean, like I'll get people from Dubai and Iran and just like Indonesia and like really oddball places I never thought. It was like, oh wow, hey, that's really cool.
Do you, when you get those random sort of like comments or whatever from people far out, do you like ever investigate? Like, hey, how did you get upon all of this?
Well, no, I mean, like, YouTube's pretty pretty accessible, so it kind of makes sense. But it's just like it's awesome, especially when they tell you, hey, I got a band, we're recording. Thanks for the recording tips, that kind of thing.
Well, I guess kind of what I'm asking is, do you build relationships out of those comments?
Oh yeah, Oh, actually, here's a great one. A kid who I've had on my show quite a few times was Jackson Ward, just a spectacular drummer from Indiana. And this all came out of something I was starting. I did a show called How to Record Heavy Drums, and he had made a comment on there. It was like a 5-part series. And he had left a comment. I remember, this is hilarious. He had said something. Well, why do I got to move my hi-hat? So far away. And because I'm trying to keep the hi-hat out of the snare mic kind of thing. And I'm like, look, I understand it seems like a huge distance because I talked to your girlfriend and apparently it's 10 times the distance of your penis, that kind of thing. And, we kind of traded barbs a little back and forth. And then, next thing, he came up and started tracking drums in my studio on the show.
Right.
So it's just, you got to have a little fun.
Are you looking for that? Like when you throw those lines out at people, because you do quite often, when you throw those lines out at people, are you looking for a little back and forth? Or you don't care, just whatever comes.
Hey, if somebody wants to engage, fine. If somebody doesn't, that's fine too. It really doesn't matter.
It's not a test for you?
Yeah, no, not at all. But so you just never know where it's going to lead. So always take opportunities. You know what I mean? If somebody's got a sense of humor, great. If they don't, oh well, fuck it, they'll live.
I think I'm at. Anybody have any questions for Glenn? Like, you guys have probably more knowledge about Glenn than I do.
I was going to say the thing about the grading thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's the thing. There's no crying in metal. Suck it up.
Anybody? Then that's it, man. Dude, thanks for hanging with us.
Thank you very much.
Fuck you, Glenn.